Well, guys, you are on the Sea of Galilee. I mean, it's one of those things, again, you can read it in dozens of accounts within the Gospels of what Jesus did and what took place on the Sea of Galilee, from times that they were fishing to times that they took a boat across. I mean, so many amazing things. But I want to tie it into what we've talked about. So if you have a Bible, you wanted to look, you can go to Mark chapter 6. Background to this moment is what we talked about in Top Gun. It was the most incredible miracle in one sense, that Jesus had fed the 5,000 men plus women and children. I mean, he had multiplied, he had done that, and I communicated to you then that that was a picture of ministry, that God works in our lives and works through our lives, and I believe it's a picture of what he has. And one of the things I said there is that God uses us in spite of ourselves, that he has a heart for the world in a way that we don't. I mean, and he uses us in ways that go beyond us, which is so incredibly true. But I want to also tell you something just significant out here on the Sea of Galilee, is that God will use you in spite of you, but he loves you too much to leave you that way. See, we have this interesting thing. Mark tells us that at the end of the feeding of the 5,000, it says, "For they had not understood about the loaves because their heart was hardened." In other words, the disciples didn't get it. I mean, they just got used by God to do this incredible miracle, the only one recorded in 4 Gospels. And the disciples get to the end of it, and they're like, they didn't get it. I mean, they were used by God, but they didn't get it. God can do, and he does, do amazing things at times through our lives, and he can do it in spite of us. And if he didn't do that, if he couldn't do things in spite of us, then it would never get done. But what you get on this moment is that in many ways he loves us again too much to leave us that way. Thus, it's time for the lesson for the disciples. You maybe know the scene immediately after the feeding of the 5,000. Verse 45, he says, he made his disciples get into a boat and go before him to the other side to Bethsaida, while he sent the multitudes away. So Bethsaida, you both kind of, that direction, so
front of the boat.
So front of the boat. So he makes them kind of hop into the boat, and he says, you guys go. And they finish the feeding of the 5,000. He says, you guys get in the boat, you guys go ahead of me, I'll catch up with you. Kind of a crazy moment. He sent them away. He had sent them away. He departed to the mountain to pray. So somewhere Jesus goes up on a mountain, maybe on Arbel, maybe somewhere nearby here, somewhere where he can see, and he goes up that night to pray, and you almost got to imagine it. I mean, here are the disciples out here on a boat, kind of like you are. Jesus is up on a mountain praying. It's night now. It says when evening came, the boat was in the middle of the sea, somewhere out where we are, and he was alone on the land, and then he saw them straining at the rowing, for the wind was against them. I mean, they're trying to get to Bethsaida, and God now has caused a wind to come through so that they're rowing, and the wind is pushing them back. And so it's taking them all night. They're beginning to do this in the middle of the night, all through the night. And it says that Jesus really, in many ways, allowed them to exhaust themselves. It is now between 3 and 6 in the morning. At this point, we know the 4th watch of the night, it tells us. And during that whole time, Jesus is praying. And it tells us in verse 48 about the 4th watch of the night. Again, that's the last watch between 3 and 6 in the morning. He came to them walking on the sea, and he would have passed them by. I mean, there's just, I wish I could just picture it for you, but I mean, here they are, I mean, the wind is blowing, they're rowing, and Jesus walks out on the sea as if he's just going to walk on by them. I mean, it's just one of these crazy moments. It says, when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed it was a ghost, and they cried out, for they all saw him and were troubled. But immediately he talked with them and said, be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid. Then he went up into the boat to them, and the wind ceased, and they were greatly amazed in themselves beyond measure and marveled, for they had not understood about the loaves because their heart was hardened. That's the point. I mean, the reason what Jesus was doing at this moment is because their heart was hardened. Jesus is pursuing them. I mean, he worked through them this incredible miracle that they didn't get. So he sends them into overtime. He sends them into a place where he can work on their lives till, I love the way it says it. Can I just read that part again? Till they were greatly amazed in themselves and beyond measure, and they marveled. They could have, should have done that in the feeding of the 5,000. They didn't. And so he allows them to get out here, and now they see Jesus in a way that they are just blown away personally. Their own hearts are gripped with his greatness, with his power, with who he is, and God will pursue that in our lives. Again, I want to just tell you, he loves you too much not to do that. He is using so many of you. I know that things that you're doing, he's working through your life and wants to. But you also just got to know this, he just loves you. He loves you to pursue just a reality. And sometimes he'll allow storms in life to kind of just come in such a way that catch us so that he can meet us in the midst of that And we get it. Things that we should have got the whole time. Things that we could have and should have just been like, and be greatly amazed in ourselves. I just want you to understand he's pursuing that. Now, within that same scene, I would be amiss if I didn't quickly point out there's more to the story. I mean, you guys know. I mean, some of you are already thinking it through. Matthew 14 says, and Jesus is coming walking up to the boat. And then Peter's like, Lord, if it's you, if it's really you out there, command me. And let me come to you on the water. And so Jesus says, come. Peter hops out of the boat. And he comes out of the boat. He walked on the water to go to Jesus. A lot of, Peter takes so much flack for some of the mistakes he makes. But I will just point this out. He's the only one that walked on the water. I mean, he's the only one that actually gets out there and he walks to Jesus. And just as he does that, but then the wind kicks up again. It tells us in verse 30, the wind was boisterous and he was afraid. And it's beginning to sink. And he just says, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, oh, you little of faith, why did you doubt? And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. And so when those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, and they said, truly, you are the Son of God. I mean, that was really the point. I mean, the point was he was bringing him to the same, part of it, to the same place where they would be amazed beyond measure, where God would work that into their lives. And I just want to tell you, I love this about our Lord, that he's pursuing this in you, and he will. I mean, to this place where, again, if he had to wait for perfect people, he would never have anybody to work with. But he loves you too much to not continue to pursue in your life, where, just reading it again, where it says that they would be greatly amazed in themselves beyond measure and marvel. I just love those words. I just think it's such a great place that he would teach you and I about that, and teach Peter about that, and all of it, so that in the midst of it, it would be so personal. It would be so, well, can I use the term again that we're using today? Real. I mean, that's really what the point of it is. And I just, if you're going to write it down in your journal, or I'll tell you later, it's really about real as God's pursuit in us. And he's after it. And he'll orchestrate crazy things to make it so that we can't just go through the motions. So we can't just see it from the outside and not see the inside. And he'll draw it to where we'll be amazed at him. So amazing things. Questions, thoughts, things as you're thinking about it and processing it through here? Anything from the way you're thinking about it, the way you see it happening?
It's amazing being out here in the calmness of this water. You get the winds up 20, 30, 40 miles an hour.
Well, you went a little bit too far, but it can get to 20 knots, 22 knots, which is quite strong.
And it can be tough out here.
I'm surfing, and it's fun to surf here when there's 20 knots. But this lake, don't be deceived. Now it's very calm, and the water look like oil. But usually in the summer, in the afternoon, from around 12, 1 o'clock, the winds start to come from the west, and it start to lift up on the other side quite big waves. And in the winter we have east wind that coming from the east, and then on this side we have quite big waves. We're not talking about 30 or 40 feet waves, but even in such a small lake, let's say a 10 feet wave, it's already quite a big thing. And to be on a nut shell in the middle of the lake here, or on the edge of the lake when there is a strong wind, it can be quite scary.
Yep.
Quite
not a boat this big. It would probably be 10 times smaller than that.
You'll see. After lunch we're going to see an ancient boat, and you'll see the size of the boat, which is about half of this one. And usually they will fish with two of them. One bigger one and one smaller one, and then they will close around a school of fish, and where they will set the net around. And
I think we're going to sing a song, sing the ocean song, sing a couple songs real fast.
Yeah. But if you want, after they can show you how they.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So let's take a moment. Let me pray, and then we're going to sing. We're going to sing. I mean, it just seems so appropriate that, we sang it the other day, and I don't know how much it's a song that you're used to singing. We sang it only a few times in church, but it's an amazing song, just oceans, and it's written about this experience. It's written about just Peter being out here, and just drawing us further, taking us further into what he has for us, and it's an amazing thought. So we're going to have girls lead us in that, and we'll see, maybe we'll do another one. I don't know just kind of how well you guys do singing. So I know you guys are, you think about it, maybe you're like, okay, I don't have a great voice. I know that. I have a terrible voice. I know mine just, it doesn't hit on pitch all the time. But let's just sing. I mean, it's not about sounding good. We're not here to record an album. We're here just to sing and, just to kind of worship the Lord. And I think that's an amazing thing. And I just invite you out here to join us in that. So let me pray for it. Father, I just thank you that you are a God who is pursuing reality. I'm amazed by it. I'm so glad by it. I'm so glad you're not content to let us scythe by, to be those whose heart could be hard or stay that way. Thank you that you arranged for the disciples to get out here in the middle of the sea and to be brought to an end of themselves and to see you. And Lord, I love the words that they were amazed in themselves beyond measure, and they marveled. God, I just ask for such in our lives, that you would not let us just scythe by, that you would cause us to be amazed at who you are in ourselves, in our own hearts, and who we are, but beyond ability to measure it, just beyond ability to kind of even just fathom it, and we would just marvel at you. We would just marvel at who you are. God, we ask for that right here, and we ask that you would draw us into that. In Jesus' name, amen. Page number? I haven't gotten there yet.
221.
21.
Upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, in ocean's deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fears surround me, you've never failed, and you won't start now. So I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When the oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be much stronger in the presence of my Savior. And I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace.